Hey guys, I just wanted to make this video to show you and explain a couple of things about these new reservoirs that are gonna be for sale. To keep this video kind of small, I'm gonna split it into two sides. This is gonna be side A and this is gonna be side B. Here I have the new reservoirs. They're all gonna be machine finish, meaning that the inside part is no longer gonna be hand polished as some of the other reservoirs similar to these ones. The only polished edge is going to be the outer edge on all reservoirs. As you can see, it has a frosted look to it when it's at the beginning, but once it's filled with water, we can see that it becomes a much see-through surface. It's gonna be available. The reservoir only 140 millimeters with 4 G1/4, the 280 with a D5 pump at the back, 4 G1/4, the same thing, fill port, drain, inlet and outlet. Here I have the 240 with a D5 pump, fill port, drain, inlet and outlet. And here I have the DDC pump reservoir that goes right here, inlet and outlet, fill port and drain. All reservoirs can be mounted in this position or this way. Even with the pump up, the only thing that you gotta look for is to have the reservoir filled up all the way to the top. On the DDC pump it becomes a little harder to do, but it can be done. With these ones, just make sure that there ain't no air bubble trapping here so it can go into the pump. Same way with this one. The only way that you can mount it will be, let's say, this way, with the pump facing up and the reservoir down. That for sure will trap air into the pump and could damage your pump. As for mounting these reservoirs, this one, the 140, you can mount it to any 140 fan space, so you will have provided screws, let's say, and here's your fan space, and all you have to do is just bolt it through. Same with this one, you will need two available 140 millimeters fan space, and for these ones will be a 120, two of them for these ones. There will be some brackets available. It will come with 4 brackets if you choose to get the brackets. You don't need the brackets to be able to mount this reservoir to a fan spot, but let's say you have the pump, you want to mount it with the pump this way, and then you want to mount this piece against a fan spot. And you don't have the clearance for the pump. This way, with the brackets, you can still mount this to a fan spot, but with the brackets it will give you enough clearance for the pump. Same thing with the DDC pump. The DDC pump, it tends to run a little hotter than the D5 pump. So if you actually see the DDC pump will actually go right here in the front, on the same side with the inlet and outlet. You also, when you mount it against a fan space, any air going through your case will actually try to cool down your DDC pump. With the DDC pump reservoir, you're gonna have some different type of screws that are gonna come with it. There's gonna be 4 screws that are gonna be M4 screws, and the rest should be 832 screws. The 832 screws that either come with, let's say, with the brackets, or just to mount the reservoir to, like I said, to a 120 fan spot. So try not to confuse the 832 screws with the M4s for the pump. Now, the M4 screws are provided for the bracket just in case you have this type of DDC cover, so, and you don't have, let's say, a heatsink for it. The screws that come with this type of bracket usually are kind of different and wouldn't work with this reservoir. So with these screws, we could still use the original DDC cover for it, and that will work. Now, if you have a heatsink and you want to use the provided screws with it, that will work too, since these are actually M4 screws, and that way when you mount the DDC pump and then you use these ones, you no longer need these ones, but this will be just in case you're using this type of cover. Just don't get confused with these screws and these other screws that are to be used to mount the reservoir. With the D5 reservoir, you're gonna have it's gonna come with a bracket, an O-ring, a screws to secure the bracket, and some extra screws to secure the whole reservoir to a fan space. The one thing I want to show you is that I have very few people made this mistake when mounting the D5 pump. They get the bracket and then they put the whole pump through it, and then they leave the O-ring on the backside of the pump, and that will cause, well, first it will cause not the bracket to sit flush against the reservoir, and you will have a leak. So what you need to do is put the pump through the bracket and then put the O-ring on the front side like this, so that way when you mount it to the reservoir, the O-ring will cause a seal around the pump and you don't have any leaks. The other thing is that the screws for the pump, and let's say you decided to get the mounting brackets. The mounting brackets have a 832 1-inch long, and the screws for the pump bracket are the same thread, the main difference is that the ones for the pump are smaller than the ones for the brackets. I had one customer try to use these longer screws to secure the bracket, and what happens is that this screw will reach and bottom out before you can actually make this bracket tight, and if you keep twisting it, once it reaches the point, you can create a crack, or you can actually end up breaking the whole reservoir. So try not to confuse, let's say, the screws that come with the brackets and the screws that come with the pump. So I have filled both reservoirs, a DDC pump and a D5 pump, with two different liquids. Here we just got distilled water, and here we have some pastel color. Now I'm gonna turn the DDC pump on so we can see, or maybe we can hear, how the pump runs and maybe get a glimpse of how it actually moves. As we can hear, the DDC pump, they do tend to run a little louder than the D5 pumps. Right now it's actually running on 12 volts, so it's literally at full speed. It's not connected to any type of PWM or some type of voltage controller, so it's just full speed. Like I said, this is the inlet, here's the outlet, here will be your loop, and here will be your return into the liquid again. Now I'm just gonna connect the D5 pump so we can maybe try to compare how both of them sound, even though it's not same reservoir but similar. Here's the D5 pump, and it's running at full speed at 5. So if we lower it, the noise level will go down, but at full speed, let's say no air in the lines, if there is any air coming in from the inlet going into the pump, that will make some noise. As we can see, just by just right there on that big bubble, let's see if the pump, we can hear just a little noise. So air is not that good coming into the pump. It creates noise. If it's too much air and gets trapped into the pump, can actually cause the pump to go bad. But here's your inlet side, here's your outlet. So I just have one pump. If not, I would show you the other one, but it will be something similar. The inlet side, water will flow from here, go into the pump, and go out either through this port right here or through this one right here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any other questions about these reservoirs, let me know down in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.